Hey guys, what is going on? It's Brian with you from the Game Comment, and we are starting another brand new series. We are playing some Hearts of Iron 4. Hearts of Iron 4 is made by Paradox Development Studio. It's the same people who put together Stellaris, and this is a game that I've been looking forward to for a while, actually longer than Stellaris, go figure. This game has been announced and been in development for quite some time, actually longer than Stellaris, and I played quite a bit of Hearts of Iron 3, so I've been looking forward to some Hearts of Iron 4. I was never like a master of Hearts of Iron 3, but I very much enjoyed it. Hearts of Iron 4 basically takes place during World War II, and unlike most Paradox games where you have like a couple hundred years, or in Stellaris' case, maybe a couple thousand years of time to build your country, your nation, and conquer and stuff, this game takes place in a much more constricted time period. It's just during like 10 or so years of World War II. So, like most other Paradox games, we're going to go ahead and start a new game. Germany was just my test game. We have two different time frames we can start. We can start 1939, right when the war is about to begin, or in 1936. But anyways, like what I was saying, like most other Paradox games, you can actually come and select pretty much any country on the map. I have to get used to. I'm so used to WASD, and Stellaris actually uses WASD, and I love it. But this game doesn't use WASD, so I'm like, ugh. So we can select, for example, Brazil, and we can play as Brazil, or we can come all the way over here and pick Tibet or Nepal or Bhutan, and we can try conquering the world as them. Now, obviously, certain countries are going to be easier, some are going to be harder. For our first playthrough, we're going to be starting as German. The reason we're going to be starting as the German Reich is for a couple reasons. Number one, my first playthrough, I wanted to play a nation that actually was pretty strong technologically, that didn't start too far behind. In addition, I wanted to start as a nation that wouldn't be too difficult on our first playthrough. Eventually, I do want to do some fun stuff. Like, I may play as Brazil eventually, or maybe Argentina, and then I kind of want to start conquering up to the United States. The other reason we're playing Germany is they're fascist. So because they're fascist government, they get to do a lot of things a little bit easier. Like, it's a lot easier for them to declare war. Where someone like the United Kingdom, they would be fun to play, but they're democratic, so they can only basically respond to threats when the world tension meter gets higher. And we'll see that in a little bit. What's this do, by the way? Is that... Oh, interesting. So, that's part of the reason we're going to play German Reich. At some point, I do want to play, like, Japan and try that, but, you know, first time, let's go ahead and start German Reich. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to turn off historic AI focuses. What this means is, unlike most games, if this was turned on, most of the countries would play it very much like World War II. So, whatever, you know, if I was playing as Italy, Germans would do things in pretty much the same order, where they would try to conquering Poland, then they'd go to war with France, and so on and so forth. Since we're turning that off, then these other nations, we can have some really random stuff happen. So let's go ahead and start and just hop in the game. This game, unlike, well, not unlike, but compared to Stellaris, is probably 100 times more complicated. There's a lot of different numbers, there's a lot of different factors, it gets really, really complex. So, I was playing around with it for quite a bit. Unlike my first playthrough of Stellaris, where I was really still learning it as I started, this game, man, I've been watching a lot of videos, I've spent a couple hours tonight already just kind of practicing, so I kind of know what I want to do and how to do things. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to hop here into research. Research is how, obviously, we get new text and so on and so forth. In this game, it's based on era. So, we are currently in the year 1936, so reaching anything in 1936 is not going to give us any sort of negatives. If we research stuff, that's actually an interesting question. I don't know. If we're researching stuff that is earlier, is it easier to research? Oh, that's 1936. See, that's the thing I like about Germany is they start pretty much up to date. So, I don't know if you get a bonus if you're researching things. What about Navy? We don't have any carriers, and this is, what, 22. So, yeah, it doesn't look like there's a bonus for researching stuff that's behind time, which, you know, kind of is disappointing. But you'll notice we got naval, we got ground, we got armor, artillery, doctrines, which basically affect your whole army. And then there's naval, and then naval doctrines, air, and air doctrines, and then industry and engineering. So there's a lot of different things we can research. The big thing with Hearts of Iron is you don't want to spread yourself too thin. If I try taking every single tech and go down every single tech tree, what's going to happen is I'm going to find myself falling really hard behind. falling very hard behind, very far behind. And so when all of a sudden my 1936 tanks match up against, America or Britain's 1943 tanks, we're going to find ourselves in a bit of an issue. So we basically want to kind of focus on certain things. Me, for myself, in the playthrough I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be focusing on tanks. I'm going to be focusing on battleships, which we'll actually have to catch up a little bit. And I will be focusing on bombers and having a strong air force. Land, I'm not going to worry too much about. I mean, this stuff's going to be good, but if I don't ever get to this stuff, you know what? I would rather just have the harder attack from tanks. To start off, though, we're going to start with basically straight industry. We're going to take basic machine tools, which increase our production efficiency cap. What that is, there's a lot of terms, like I said. Production efficiency is basically your factories. The more factories you have dedicated to build something, in this case infantry equipment, the higher your production efficiency, which means they're able to build it more efficient. Basically, imagine it this way. If all you do in your life is build a tank, you're going to be a heck of a lot better at building tanks than someone who's just starting. So if, for example, I bumped up a bunch of... Alright, never mind. If I took my tanks and I bumped this up a whole bunch... Do I have to actually trigger it? I might have to actually trigger it, never mind. I might have to actually unpause it, is what I'm trying to say. But anyways, if we bump this up really, really high, a lot of these factories aren't used to building the motorized vehicles, so they're just not going to be as good at it. I guess we have to actually unpause it for that to happen, but not going to worry about that. So that's what basic machine tools do. We're going to come here into engineering. We're going to take this, which gives us research time. Basically, it reduces research time. Anything to reduce research time is going to be amazing. So we want that earlier on. Come back to industry. We're going to take some construction time. Yay. And that's all we can really build right now in here. So we're going to come to our land doctrines. And we already have the first tier in mobile warfare. So we're going to continue down this tree. There's some really good stuff here. Blitzkrieging, basically... I mean, this is how Germany played, so that's what we're going to be doing. Simply because we're going to be focusing on tanks. What does this one give us? This next one gives us more organization, which I think organization's kind of like morale. I think I'll have to go look through. The other thing we got is we also got mobile warfare, which gives us more breakthrough. Breakthrough is basically, well, we'll explain all that later, but let's go ahead and research this. That comes down to the stats of the army. So if I go ahead and select, actually, it'll be easier. Let's come here to recruit. We have a couple default division templates. What's really cool is I can come here and basically make these different templates as much as possible. The problem is they cost experience, and you'll notice I have 0 experience. So the more wars we get ourselves into, the more experience we'll have, the more we can upgrade our divisions. You'll notice that, can I reset it? Yeah, you'll notice that if I add more infantry here, not anti-air, infantry battalion, infantry, you'll notice that our soft attack goes up, our hard attack goes up, our defense, our breakthrough, everything, all our stats basically go up. And as we add more infantry, basically, boom, we can kind of just make ourselves a lot better. The big downside to this is what happens. Well, now our manpower cost goes up, training time goes off, I think, maybe, but then the infantry equipment and support equipment will also go up, so... Let's go ahead and remove that. Yeah, 11:10 is the training time. Now, it looks like training time's the same no matter what. Artillery, yeah. So, now, if we go through and we add an armored battalion and we add a heavy tank in here, you'll notice our hard attack goes up and our soft attack goes up. Basically, how hard and soft attack works is you'll notice down here. They have a hardness meter based on what kind of infantry and troops and stuff you have. The more armor you have, the higher the hardness. The less armor, the lower the hardness. The higher the hardness stat, the more damage you take from hard attacks. The lower the hardness, the less damage you take from hard attacks, but the more damage you take from soft attacks. So this infantry right here that would have one heavy tank would take 9% damage from hard attacks. So if someone was doing 23 damage to us, we would take 9% of that. But we would take 91% of soft attacks. Now, most infantry, if we go ahead and remove this, most infantry is going to do almost primarily soft attacks. So they're not going to do too well against tanks, but they'll probably do pretty well against fellow infantry. You'll notice support artillery adds some to breakthrough, adds some to soft, adds a little to hard. Engineers are great because they basically just add a bunch of bonuses to your attack, to your movement, to all kinds of stuff. And then they give you a bunch of soft and hard attacks as well. Now, breakthrough. Breakthrough and defense kind of counteract each other, and this is what I've heard and I understand it. But anyways, breakthrough is basically how it's basically like an armor stat, and the higher your breakthrough, the less armor you take or the less damage you take on your attacks. So armor and whatnot are going to give you a hell of a lot higher breakthrough. So if I come here and look at my Panzer division, they have 187 breakthrough. So how many enemy attacks a unit can attempt to avoid while in the offensive, effectively allowing it to stay on the offense longer. So in other words, a higher breakthrough means you're going to be able to push through quicker. So as a Germany who's going to be blitzkrieging across Europe, we're going to want high breakthroughs because we're going to want to basically push through as quick as possible. So anyways, that's kind of all that in a handshell. What we're going to do is we're going to come here and we're going to start building up a bunch of infantry. I'm just going to go ahead and train, whoopsie, add units this way. I'm going to go ahead and train 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, we'll do 8 of those. I'm going to go ahead and train a couple more Panzer divisions. We don't have any experience to alter any of these templates, but, you know, I kind of like them. The only thing I really want to do is on this infantry division, I want to add a recon. Right now, we don't have any recon on our infantry. And the recon just basically adds a bunch of movement, and it adds a lot more defense, too. So that's kind of nice. Oh, there it is. Under production costs, it says manpower plus 500, and then support and infantry costs go up. So anyways, so we're training 8 infantry divisions. We don't have any SS divisions currently at all. Now, SS divisions, they're basically just motorized. So they're almost identical to our infantry division stat-wise, but they move a hell of a lot quicker. So mostly our SS is going to be kind of to... Actually, you know what? I don't know if we need SS. I think we are going to make a couple. It's going to just help us go a little quicker, so we'll train a couple. I'm only going to do like 2 to begin with. And then I'm going to go ahead and train like 3 Panzer divisions. 1, 2, 3. One of these times I'm going to hit the right buttons. So we currently have, what, 3 Panzer divisions, it seems, since it's saying 4, 5, 6. And then we currently have 24 regular divisions. So, yay. Next up, we got civilian factories. Now, civilian factories build civilian goods, and they build, well, let's see. What do they actually say about civilian factories? This building provides a state with industry for production of civilian goods or construction of new buildings. Can be converted to military industry if needed. So our military buildings build the guys that we're just looking at. All this stuff is built by our military factories. And actually, sorry, not these guys, sorry. This stuff, this equipment right here is all built by our military factories. So in order for us to build infantry units, we have to actually have infantry equipment. You'll notice since we queued up all these units, we need a heck of a lot more weaponry. So we have a bunch of military factories building some. They're making 52 a day. Well, we need to get 9,800. So we're going to need a few more factories working on that for us to be fully equipped. Civilian factories now help you build more military factories. They also help you, you can actually trade them off. So you can actually trade. So for example, if I wanted to trade the Soviet Union because I was short on oil, what would happen is I could buy 40 oil, but I'd have to trade them 5 civilian factories. I'm not going to do any of that trading right now. In fact, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building just a bunch of civilian factories. The thing is, we can always exchange them for military factories later. Basically take them over for a small cost. My whole goal is I would like to have enough factories. So you'll notice all 15 factories that we have extra right now are building this one, and then we have one extra building one in Pomeranian. What I would like to see is actually enough factories that we can have 2 maxed out. And then from that point, we're going to go and switch over to military factories and start building them. Right now, I think we're okay with the current military factories we have. I'd rather them focus on just more civilian factories. We will be getting more factories through different focuses, select a national focus, but we'll worry about that when we get there. So military factories, you'll see we have 27 of 40 currently being used. So I'm going to go ahead and queue up another 5 factories to be working on infantry equipment. That's going to give us now 78 per day. Yeah. Okay, cool. We're going to take a couple more reinforcements. We don't need that much towed equipment, so I'm not too worried about that. We have 6 factories currently working on tanks, which I think is pretty good. What if we do that? I think this is just going to require too much oil. You'll notice that it's red over here, which means we don't have enough oil to handle what we're trying to build. And it looks like 3 is the issue. But I think we're going to bump down motorized and bump up tanks. No, it still counts. I don't really... Yeah, I think that's okay. We're still seriously short over there. Screw it. Let's just go tanks. We'll do a bunch of tanks. And we still have one extra factory. So let's go ahead and build it there. Or do we want told artillery? We're only making 1.48 a day. I'd rather have motorized, I think, right now, because we're building a bunch of SS. We are taking a negative because we don't have enough oil. We're basically, production is reduced by how much it says. Lack of resources, 31%. That's actually pretty freaking significant. But at this point, I would rather... In my test game, I didn't bother trading because I figured I would rather build the factories. I'm wondering if that's actually the best way to do this. I would say for now, yeah, let's just focus purely on factories, and if we're a little behind on everything, that's okay. The other thing we have to keep in mind is we need 720 tanks. The thing is, part of that's because of how many divisions we're building. How much per Panzer division tanks do we need? Where was the cost? I saw it somewhere. There's a cost somewhere, it actually told me. Okay, alright, so each one requires 240 light tanks. So that would be 720 tanks needed based purely on our new ones, which is exactly what it says. So the reason we need tanks is because we're trying to build 3 divisions worth of tanks. The thing is, how long is it going to take for us to build these divisions? Does it actually give me a time? So July 20th, 1936. So we got basically seven and a half months until we actually need the tanks. So it's okay if we're a little bit slower, I think, in the get-go building these tanks. We're making 1.96 a day. So that would actually take us about a full year. Actually, that would be basically a full year before we finish. So in the scheme of things, we'll still finish this before these all get finished. But anyways, what else we got? Free dockyards. So what's cool is we have military factories, but then we also have naval dockyards. They work separately, so you can build ships and everything completely separate from your military factories, which I love. So we're going to go ahead and just get more submarines, and I'm going to go ahead and bump this up because we're going to want as many submarines as possible. Now, these that are grayed out basically mean I don't have a factory. So if this finishes, then the 3 here will if this one finished before this one, then these 3 factories would be applied there. This one will actually finish first. Interesting. I wonder, you know what? Let's do it this way then. Let's come down here, and let's put the extra factories here, and let's just knock that out quicker, you know, since it's going to take less time. And then we'll come down here and gray this out. And, yeah, I'm okay with that. Although, actually, we're building 4 destroyers. Yeah, I changed my mind. Let's do it this way. Yeah, that'll be okay. We're not in too terrible. So we have no national focus. So well, I don't want to say every nation, but most of the major nations have a unique national focus tree. So if I click on the Soviet Union and I look at their national focus, they have 5-year plan, Stalin Constitution, blah, 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 blah. They have all different things they can do. But then most nations have just the default, and this is just kind of like the default one where you can just kind of, it's really good. But we, as Germany, have our own unique one. So we're going to come here, and what I want to be doing is I want to start coming down this track right here, because I want Danzig or war. Danzig or war basically is I'm going to demand Poland. I'm going to demand the territory Danzig from Poland, and if they don't accept it, then we're going to declare war on them, this part right here. That's going to take us a little while to get there, mostly because you see it needs at least 950k manpower. And I'm not quite sure. I've yet to actually find where our manpower is. And when it says 950, oh, okay, there it is. We have 386k. So we need about 600k more manpower. So that's partly why I queued up so many divisions, because I want to get as many out there as possible. Although since we can't get down there, I still am going to start down this tree. Partly because when I click here, when this one finishes, the Rhineland finishes, what's going to happen is you'll notice world tension is going to go up by 2%. How world tension works is the higher the world tension is, the more democratic nations can counter respond. So when it gets to like 25%, then democratic nations can start guaranteeing other nations. So if this gets to 25%, the UK can, you know, declare that, hey, if you attack Poland, we're going to go protect Poland from attack. So you kind of want to keep this as low as possible while getting as many wars declared as possible. The thing is, with the world tension, it does go down over time. So we're going to start with the Rhineland. And even though we won't even be able to do the Anschluss, because we won't have 550k in 70 days, it'll still be okay because then this 2% will tick down, hopefully, before we ever get here. Yeah. So we're going to do this. These will no longer be demilitarized zones. We'll get a bunch of political power, a bunch of army experience, well, little army experience, and world tension will go up. And then France gets whatever this is. So let's go ahead and start. Oh, that's this area right here. So I can't actually take troops in there. Yeah, all right. I didn't realize that. Okay, cool. So we're short on resources. That's okay. Last thing I want to do before we get anywhere is I'm going to go ahead and click on my air. And now let's click over here. I think it's here. I'm going to go ahead and delete all my air wings. This is not actually deleting my planes. What this is doing is this is deleting their current target, their mission, like where they're based and all that. And it's basically putting all my planes into reserves. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to rebase them towards Poland. Because Poland is going to be my first goal. And I didn't actually explain this, but one thing I want to be doing in this game is I'm going to be moving east as quick as possible. We're not going to be playing this quite like Germany. My goal is to declare war on Poland as quickly as humanly possible. I mean, I suppose I can always click here right now and I can justify war goal. And I can just, you know, I don't even have to go down that tree. Which I may do if I get a little impatient, but I do kind of want to build up my army a little bit. But I want to declare war on Poland. I want to conquer Poland as quick as possible. And then when we finish that off, we're going to be going straight for the Soviet Union. The reason why is in Hoi 3, the Soviet Union was scary late game. Basically because they could build up their infrastructure, they can build up their tech level, and they can get to a really scary navy and force and everything later in the game. And I don't want to have to deal with that. So we're going to be attacking them as soon as possible, and hopefully we can take them out before they get to be too scary in this game. They start a little behind in tech, not too much though, so it'll be rather interesting. This might be a terrible idea, but I would rather deal with Soviet Union before we deal with the democratic nations like the UK and France. So that's going to be our goal anyways. But with all our planes selected, I want to do a couple things. You'll notice when we click on the planes, it gives you different air zones. So we have Western Poland and we have Eastern Germany. In Western Poland, this is going to be where most of our attacks are going off. We're going to basically assign most of our planes. So we're going to create a new air wing. We're going to dump all our bombers over here. And we have 360 bombers right here. I'm going to bump the wing limit up to 400 because I would like to create a couple new bombers. And we're going to hit OK. Then we're going to go ahead and put some tactical bombers over here too. And we have 120 set. I'm going to bump it up to, let's do 150. We want a bigger Air Force than we have, but my Air Force right now I'm not so concerned with because we don't really need it till we start dealing with Britain, I think. Close air support, these guys will be attacking most of the ground. There's only 80. I'm going to bump you up to 152. And now what's interesting is it gets to the fighters. And we have a bunch of interwar fighters, but I don't want all my fighters in Poland. I want some fighters to protect my bombers and stuff, but I also want some fighters over in Germany to kind of help protect that. So we are not going to move all... whoopsie. I want to go... No. Go back. I'm going to bring 200 over. And these are going to be flying over Western Poland for me and kind of protecting Poland. And actually, crap, I screwed that up. I think I can still do it. Nah, I screwed it up. All right, we're going to have to advance a couple days. I hate that. I want 200, but I want the number higher, this number higher than 200. So now over here in Germany, let's go ahead and we want the 80. Oh, well, yeah, now it gives me. Damn it. We're going to do 80 over here, but we want a cap of, let's say, you know what? I actually wouldn't mind a higher cap because this is actually in Germany. So we'll put 250 as our limit. and then they're going to fly over there. And now, once again, in Osterprussian, we want 200, and I want this cap to be, like, let's say 300. We want a huge air force. So what this means is we're basically the game's going to try building it up to an air fighting force of 300. It's going to take a little while to get there, especially since when you look at our production, we're building, what, like 10 a year? Well, we're actually making one a month in close support. That's not bad. The bombers just take a while, apparently. And we're doing about one a month there, too. So eventually we will want to curve that up. But I'm not so concerned about that right now. So we got those guys where we want them. When they finish their deployment, and we'll go ahead and bump up speed a little bit, we'll actually give them missions. So we got 2 standing by right now. We're going to go ahead and tell you, come here, come here, come here. So basically, we assign them to this area. I could assign them to Eastern Poland if I want, but we're starting over in Western Poland. Our bombers, we're going to tell them to do close air support. Strategic bombing would bomb buildings, infrastructure, and industry. I don't want to do that in Poland because when I take over Poland, I want their infrastructure. Our tactical bombers, we're going to be doing the same thing, close air support, and our close air support, we're going to be doing close air support. Now, there's supposed to be fighters over here, too. Did we screw that up? There's 250 over here. Tactical bomber, tactical bombers. We're supposed to have a bunch of interwar planes over here. Okay. Apparently I screwed this up. Let's do 300. Sounds good. Oh, did I not hit OK? I might not have hit OK. Now, our fighters over here in Eastern Germany are standing by, so I'm going to give them the mission of, let's actually click this zone. I'm going to tell them air superiority. So, actually, know what? I'm going to give them interception. Attempt to prevent enemy planes from doing missions in the region, such as bombing or close air support. So, in other words, if they try bombing us, these guys will hopefully intercept them. And, alright, you guys, whoopsie. You guys are already over here. Fighters, come here. And once again, you guys are actually going to be on air superiority. No, wait, this is the wrong one again. There we go. Haha. Air superiority, so basically they're going to be trying to protect our guys. Now, last thing we want to do is I'm going to go ahead and select all our troops. And what's really cool is I can create an army here. And we can name this army and so on and so forth. So we'll call this guy the Polish Invasion. Polish Invasion Force. Yeah. And we're actually going to go ahead and name this theater over here. And we're going to call this the Polish Theater. And this kind of helps you access your units and everything a little bit quicker. So we got some Panzer divisions. We got, I have no idea what division this is. Oh, that's SS. Okay, so we actually did have SS. Then we have a bunch of infantry. So what we're going to do with this army right here is we're going to give them a front line. When I click on this right here, that means they're going to try spreading out along this front line, and that's going to be basically their starting point. What you can now do in this game is actually give them an offensive line. So I can say, hey guys, guess what? I want you to come here, and you're going to attack this way. And so what's going to happen is as they, when I actually tell them to execute the plan, they're going to slowly start pushing this way and try pushing to this line. What's really cool is once you do that, you can start having them push multiple, actually, we can have multiple step plans going through. And that's actually what we're going to do. We're going to actually have another 2-step plan over here. And I actually wanted to edit this plan. I want to go here. Is it this way? There it is. So what's going to happen is our army is going to push here to this line right here. Warsaw, you'll notice, gives... can I actually back out? Warsaw, it has its starts, their capital. It gives 20 victory points. How victory points work is the more victory points you have, then the more likely they are to surrender. And it's based on their national unity. They have a national unity of 70%. So when I capture 70% of the victory points, basically they'll capitulate. So the reason why I actually split this off is because they have 2 different victory points over here. They have one there that's worth 1 and one that's worth 1 there. I don't think I'll actually even need that. Once I get all of these over here, they might straight capitulate. But anyways, you'll notice that we have, what, 1 division going here and then 1 division going there, which is interesting. You guys should all be assigned there. Why? What is this? Division assignment. I still don't quite. There we go. So we have 13 divisions going here. Then we have 1 division going here, which doesn't make sense. I think I have to, like, select them. And then I have to say, go here. and then I can select you guys and say go here. So then we'll have, really? I want you guys, how about this? Go there. Alright, so we have 6 going there, we have 2 going there. It doesn't really matter, we'll change it later. But what's interesting and why I'm doing this now is the longer that they actually sit in place, the more experience they get. They get an organization bonus, I think it is, and then they'll basically execute the plan better the longer they sit and prepare for it. But anyways, let's go ahead and advance time. We're sitting at 30 minutes already. So yeah, this first episode is going to be pretty much just explaining things. I'll just make this a longer episode. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of is this day-night thing, how it passes over. I don't mind so much. Well, let's see if we're super close. Yeah, I don't know. I think lower speeds is not as bad. I can go ahead and turn it off, but then it just stays daytime, and it's kind of hard to tell. And I might just do this when it's not... when we're not in battle, and then change it later. I don't know. If you guys really hate it, let me know. I'm kind of like, I guess I've maybe gotten used to it. It's kind of annoying, but whatever. The other thing is, let's go ahead and add you to this right here. And then we have 4 more divisions over here. But let's actually make these guys. We'll make a new theater. New army first? New army, and then I want them in a new theater. We're going to call this the French theater. French theater. I spelled theater right? That'd be really embarrassing if I spelled it wrong. And then you guys, I can't really do anything right now, but I will just tell you go hang out over here. Since you guys can't really do anything right now. The other thing is I can come and give them commanders. Not too worried about giving them commanders yet because, well, they're not going to be going to war. Lastly, let's go ahead and I would like to select my navy, and I want to merge my navy together. So we have 2 regular navies, and I'm going to move them both over here. You're here, and then I have 2 sub-navies, and I'm going to put them both together there. And then we're going to put them on missions. So... when we get matched up here, we're going to select our navies. Let's go ahead and merge all our U-boats together. And I'm going to give the Seawolf guy, we're going to make him commander of our navy. And then we're going to give them the mission to, what's convoy raid? Yeah, let's go ahead and convoy raid. And we're going to go, damn it. Convoy raid there, there, and there. So we're going to have them raid these areas. So when we declare war on Poland, you know, if they're sending any convoys, which is basically the people who make the trades. So if they're trading with, you know, UK or whatever, they send convoys. And we're basically tasked with destroying them. Now our ships over here, we're going to merge these guys. I think our best general, I think they're all pretty much the same, right? Yeah. Well, let's go with Reich. And we are going to put you guys on, we'll just do patrol right now, and we'll do Baltic Sea, and we'll do the Eastern North Sea, and they'll just kind of patrol both of them. So yeah, that's pretty much the first episode, I think. Let's take a look and see what everyone's doing. They're finishing the 5-year plan, limited rearmament, not quite sure. France is doing defensive focus. Oh yeah, the other thing I want to do is I want to come over to the U.S. and I'm going to boost party popularity. I want to make the U.S. Fascist. I don't know if it's possible, but we're going to freaking try making the U.S. fascist. The other thing I'd like to do is Romania. I'm going to go ahead and boost party popularity as well, because I would like to make them fascist, so we have another person to help us attack the Soviet Union. Italy, I don't know. I don't think I have to boost party popularity because they're already pretty fascist. I can't actually invite them to my faction yet. I wonder if I could just improve relations, and that will probably let them join us quicker. What are we gaining? We're gaining 1.5 per day. This will cost us 0.2, sure, because we're going to get a whole freaking lot of political power. Political power allows you, and you'll see in the next episode, you can kind of reform your government and stuff like that, and give like a minister of war and stuff like that to give you bonuses. So we'll deal about that in the next episode. As for this episode, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're starting a brand new series, and so any support you guys give me, likes, comments, you know, does wonders for the series, does wonders for the channel. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Definitely like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.